Welcome back to the online sessions on MWT. And in the previous sessions, we have discussed about forming the S matrix parameters for the E plane, H plane, and magic tees. And today's session will try to go with direction couplers, forming of S matrix of direction couplers. So before that, let us go with some of the applications of the magic tee, where we normally prefer this magic tee. So magic tee is normally preferred in the measurement of impedance in the microwave circuit, and magic tee can be used as a duplexer in the case of radar applications. So in a radar, for transmitter and receptions, we normally going to use only one circuit. So there we normally going to prefer this magic tee, where it works like a duplexer. That means only through magic tee the signal is simply going to get transmitted to the receiver, and also the using the same magic tee the signal is going to get received from the receiver. So therefore it simply works like a duplexer. So the simple application of duplexer is that simple utilization duplexer is that using duplexer, we normally going to get a simultaneous operations of transmissions and receptions. That is what called basical utilization of the duplexer. In our mobile phones, because of duplexer only, we are able to communicate simultaneously both the transmissions and receptions of the voice signals. So therefore duplexer is normally going to play a vital role in the case of simultaneous transmissions of the signals. Okay. And next, magic tee is used as a mixture circuit in many of the microwave receiver circuits. So these are some of the applications of the magic tee. Now there is going to be one more microwave component known as a direction coupler. It is normally used to couple the input signal to the output signal, where the losses are going to be less. So why we normally use these microwave components? Only just to reduce the amount of losses that will be driven to the load circuit. We normally prefer this particular microwave components. So one among them is going to be the directional coupler. Okay. So the directional coupler is normally built in waveguide assemblies. See, how do we normally build any of the microwave components? It is built by using the waveguides only. So waveguides are normally going to get tilted, twisted, and cut. Make so many joints in the waveguides in order to bring out the microwave components. Okay. So therefore, here they are built in waveguide assemblies, which can sample a small amount of microwave power for measurement purposes. So we can sample some of the microwave power. Okay, normally use it for measurement purpose, and obviously for transmission from one end to the another end also we normally going to prefer this. So they can be used to measure the incident power and reflected powers. SWR value, standing wave ratio. Standing waves are normally going to be going to get present when there is a reflected waves. So therefore, standing waves values we can able to find out using the direction couplers. Provide a signal path to a receiver. It provides a signal path to a receiver. That means if at all we wanted to couple input to the output, say output is going to be a output is going to be a transmitter, output is going to be a receiver, then we normally going to provide a signal path to the receiver. So they can be unidirectional or bidirectional. So unidirectional means what? We only support incident powers and no, there is no reflected powers from the same port. So if it is in the case of bidirectional, we normally support even incident as well as the reflected powers. Both powers, if you support, it becomes a bidirectional port. Yes, unidirectional devices means what? Unidirectional port means what? Only reflected power is not going to present in that particular port. So it is basically a four-port waveguide junction consisting of the various port names as primary, secondary, main, and auxiliary waveguide. As auxiliary ports waveguide. So there are four ports basically: main port, primary port, secondary port, main port, and auxiliary port. Now here one assumption is that all the ports are going to have matched terminations, which means S11, S22, S33, S44 are all going to be equal to zeros. That is what we normally consider here. Here also, just like in a magic tee, and other microwave components. So with matched terminations at all its ports, the properties of direction couplers are going to be written like this. The portion of the power traveling from port 1 to port 2 is coupled to port 4. See here, there are going to be ports divided like this. You're going to have port 1, so main port, port 2, port 3, and port 4. Now, when you transmit a signal from port 1, it will be simply coupled to port 2. While it is getting coupled to port 2, no signal is simply coupled to the port 3. That means reverse port 3 reverse signal is will be equal to 0. Okay, but not to port 4. But somehow the signal is coupled to this particular auxiliary port, which is called port 4. Okay, is known as a forward coupled power is normally going to get picked up from this particular port. So directional coupler is going to be a 4-port device, say port 1, port 2, port 3, and port 4. Port 3 is going to be the back port or a reverse port, and the port 4 is going to be the forward coupled ports or known as auxiliary port. Another property of this is going to be a portion of the wave traveling from port 2 to port 1 is coupled to port 3 but not to port 4. If you use port 2 as input port, the signal coming to the input port is coupled to port 1, and some portion will be coupled to port 3 but not to port 4. Okay, this is what another property which we can observe. Then one more property is the portion of the power incident on port 3. So we have seen when the power is incident on port 1, it will be coupled to port 2, and some portion will be coupled to port 4, but no signal is coupled to port 3. When you go with reverse, when you apply input at port 2, it will be coupled to port 1, and some portion is coupled to port 3, but 0 is coupled to port 4. And next one is a portion of the, now when I apply input to the port 3, so a portion of the power incident on port 3 is coupled to port 2 but not to port 1, and a portion of the power incident on port 4, if you apply at port 4, is coupled to port 1, but not to port 2. So therefore finally what we can conclude here is port 1 and 3, port 1 3, port 2 4 are going to be known as decoupled ports. That means if you apply input at port 3, the no signal is coupled to port 3. If you apply input at port 2, no signal is coupled to port 4. Therefore port 2 4, port 1 and 3 are known as the decoupled ports. That means coupling is not provided between these two ports. The performance the performance of direction coupler depends on the two parameters. One is the coupling factor, next one is going to be the directivity. So here coupling factor is normally governed by the formula, is defined as the ratio of the incident power to the forward power. So here we have seen this, if the port 1 is incident power, port 4 is the port 4 output is the forward power port. So therefore incident power to the forward power port in dB is defined as the coupling factor, and where C is nothing but a measure of how much of the incident power is being sampled. Okay, so this is what a coupling factor, which should be as less as possible, because the less the power coupled to the port 4, the more is going to be the power transmission from port 2. The next one is going to be the directivity, is the ratio of the forward power to the backward power. That means port 3. So that is what called the directivity. So if this port 3 power is going to be ideally 0, then what happens now? Maximum power is simply coupled to port 2. That means most of the power is not reflected back to port 3. So the reflection is simply equal to 0, which is going to be called as effective or efficient kind of a direction coupler. Then a simple problem we can just have by using the formula. Calculate the coupling factor of a direction coupler when incident power is 600 milliwatts and the power in the auxiliary waveguide or auxiliary port, that is called port 4, okay, are called as forward coupling port, is 350 microwatts. Then substitute these two and use the logarithmic scale to find out this value, and you can just find out the coupling factor here. Then finally we go with the S matrix of a directional coupler. Just like how we found out the S matrix for the magic T, E plane T, and H plane T, similarly we go with finding out the S matrix parameters for the directional coupler. So directional coupler is a 4-port device. Therefore, S matrix is a n by n matrix. So therefore, n by n means what? 4 by 4 matrix. So we should get a 4 by 4 matrix to represent the S matrix of a directional coupler. So therefore, I'll write this as S11, S12, S13, S14, row 1. Similarly, row 2, S21, S22, row 3, S31, S32, like that. And finally, I'll go up to S44. So thereby, normally going to form the S matrix of a directional coupler. Now we'll try to analyze the S matrix for the directional coupler to find out its appropriate values. So the directional coupler called as DC, where all the ports are perfectly matched to the junction. Then I can write S11, S22, S33, S44 becomes equal to 0. So this diagonal matrix is always going to become 0 if all the ports are perfectly matched ports. What is the meaning of perfectly matching? If you apply input at port 1, output from port 1 should be 0. If it is so, then it is called as a perfectly matched port. If it is so, then it is called a perfectly matched port. So that is what called a perfect matching. Next, from the symmetry property, Sij is equal to Sji, similar to the previous properties of S matrix. I can write this as S23 is equal to S32, S13 is equal to S31, S24 is equal to S42. I just reverse these suffixes. S34 is equal to S43. All these are normally equal to same. S41 is equal to S14. So ideally, the back power is equal to 0. So there is no coupling between port 1 and port 3. So between port 1 and port 3, there is no coupling. That means the direction coupler, there is no coupling between port 1 and port 3. So since the coupling between port 1 and port 3 is 0, what I can write? Port 1 to port 3 is same as port 3 to port 1. Coupling is 0. So therefore, that value, that particular scattering parameter is always going to be equal to 0. So this S is nothing but the ratio of what? No, reflected wave to the incident wave power, reflected wave power to the incident wave power. So that is what this particular scattering parameters. So when the reflected is 0, obviously this S matrix parameter is also equal to 0. So also there is no coupling between port 2 and port 4. Therefore, S24, S42 also going to be equal to 0. So simply substitute all the above identities here to get into the S matrix. So as I can write this as S11 is 0, S22 is 0, S33 0, S44 0. So diagonal matrix is 0. S12, S14 remains as it is. Here I am going to have S21. So S21 is nothing but equal to S12. The next one is S23 and 0. This is S31, 0, S31. What is S31? S31 is 0. The next one is S32. S32 can be written as S23. Similarly, S0, this is a diagonal matrix. S34. And S41. S41 I can write as is equal to S14 because S14 is here. So we should try to go with a duplicate value so that it can be solved very quickly and easily. Right. The next is S42. S42 is 2 and 4 are decoupled ports. Therefore, this is 0. S34, S43 is nothing but equal to S34. So I can write S34 0. Now, now by using the identity matrix, I can just simply, due to the symmetry, what is that we're going to have now? We simply multiply the same matrix with its complex conjugate. When you multiply this, you should produce a identity matrix because the S matrix are going to be unitary matrix. Is going to result into unitary matrix if we multiply the matrix with its complex conjugate. Now, after we get into this, simply have to solve the S matrix. So how do we solve this S matrix? Same as the previous one. Row 1, column 1, when you multiply, it will be having 1. Similarly, what about this? This is row 2, column 2. This one is row 3, column 3. This last one is row 4, column 4. So I just go with row 1, column 1, row 2, column 2, row 3, column 3. And I'll be having all these various parameters. And row 1, column 3. Row 1, column 3, I just calculate to produce all this. Now I'll be getting equations 5 and 6 here, 6 and 7 here. Okay, so now comparing equations 5 and 6, what I can really write it here. S12, yeah. When we compare equations 5 and 6, we can write S14 is equal to S23. S14 is equal to 1 minus S12 square. Okay. So S23 is equal to 1 minus S34 square. Okay. So I can write this as now S14. Now here we have the approximation in the above where S23 is equal to S32. So here we by making the approximations with respect to above, we can normally going to get this particular equation to be solved. Thereby I can just make this approximation as S14 is equal to S23, S12 is equal to S34 by making the approximations as above with respect to all these above parameters. I can just get into this. Then let us assume this S12 is a real positive number. I can represent it by using P. That means if you apply input at port 1, port 2, you're going to get output at port 1. So maximum coupling is going to be there between port 1 and port 2. Therefore, I can take this as value positive P. So S12 is equal to, I can write as S34. That means if you apply input at port 4, I'll be getting output from port 3. So that is what we have, which can be is equal to the complex conjugate of this S34. Okay. So I can just make out all these various approximations here. Okay, so to get into this, next from equation 8, there is an equation 8 here, S12 into S23 star plus S14 into S34 star. I can just get into this now. Now, S12 is P, S14, S34 star is P, P into all this factor I can write. So this is the equation I'll get. Now, here LHS is equal to RHS. So here, in order to equate this to 0, either P has to be equal to 0 or this parameter inside this P has to be equal to 0. P cannot be equal to 0 because it is a coupled value. So therefore, this parameter should be equal to 0. So this I can write as if S23 is made equal to JY, some imaginary component. Then S23 star I can write as is equal to minus JY because S23 and S23 star are going to be complex conjugates. To designate complex conjugate property, we consider minus here. See, S23 star is minus JY, S23 is just plus JY. It indicates that it is going to be the complex conjugate symmetry representation. So S23 must be imaginary. S23 must be imaginary. That means S23 must be imaginary means what? J has to be considered. So we let S23 is equal to some JQ, which is nothing but equal to S14 from the above identity. So therefore S12, S34 is equal to P and S23, S14 is equal to JQ just now we have got. Okay. So to get the solution of this particular directional coupler, we simply consider the so now S23 is equal to S14. I can write as is equal to JQ. To get the solution, now I can just to make the solution, this P square plus Q square can be made is equal to 1. Okay. So now S matrix I can represent for all these using all these parameters. I can just simply form the S matrix here with respect to real components and imaginary components. So thereby we can finally form the S matrix for the directional coupler. Okay. Now having it done with the components such as E plane T, H plane T, direction coupler, we have other components such as circulator and the isolator. So these two are also going to be called as the microwave components. So we continuously going to use these two components also. Now, what are the basic operation of this particular isolator and circulator? See, if you really go through the basic microwave circuit, in that microwave circuit, after the microwave tube, after the microwave oscillator tube, you're going to have an isolator component. So isolator is normally used to allow the signal to transmit only in the forward direction. Whereas in the reverse direction, isolator is normally going to stop the signal. That means the signal transmission is going to possible only in one direction and it attenuates in the other direction. That is what basically called as an isolator. So isolator passes the signals only in one direction and it attenuates almost completely in the other direction. So that it's going to be called as a one-way communication. Isolator is going to provide a one-way communication, say from port 1 to port 2. From port 2 to port 1, there is no signal. Means what? In isolator, there is no reflected signal. So just to avoid reflected signals to pass through the input circuitry of the microwave system, we use the isolators. So therefore, isolator is always going to be a very important component in the case of the transmitter circuits, right? So the next is, what about circulator? Circulator is normally, some circulator means what? It will be in the form of a circular fashion. Okay, so it will be in the form of circular fashion where it passes input from each port to the next port around the circle, not to any other ports except that is what called a circulator. So let us go through this diagram now. Now here this is port 1, say port 1, port 2, port 3, like this we have circulator. Okay, so we have so many ports now, port 1, port 2, port 3, like this we have. And a circulator, if you apply input at port 3, the next port would be port 1. The input is normally going to go through port 1, not to port 2. That means circulator is normally going to transmit signal in the anti-clockwise direction. When you apply input at this port, the output will be coming at port 1. If you apply input at this port, the output will be coming at port 3. If you apply input at port 2, the output will be coming at port 2. That means the immediate port, we normally going to get the output when you go in a anti-clockwise direction. All rest of the ports is normally equal to 0. Now, using this particular basic construction, you can form isolator as an N-port device. Therefore, ideally, the circulator, sorry, not isolator, ideally the circulator is an N-port device, whereas isolator is always going to be a 2-port device and circulator is going to be N-port device. But in this diagram, we have shown using only 3 ports. So like this, because it is of 360 degrees, you can form n number of ports. As you increase the circle diameter, you can go on increase the number of ports that you normally going to connect to this particular circulator. Therefore, the circulator can be called as a N-port device. It is going to be an N-port device, so using which we can connect n number of devices to the circulator. That is what one of the greatest application of the circulator. Now both of these isolator and circulator are going to have the unique properties of the ferrites which are used in the magnetic fields. Okay, so there is a basic operation related to these isolator and circulators, okay, which we discuss in the next session. So for today, we'll stop here. In the next session, we deal with the basic operations of the isolator and circulator, and we see how an isolator is normally going to allow only the signal in the forward direction and how it is stopping the signal in the reverse direction. And similarly, we see how a circulator is normally going to couple its signal to the next immediate port, stopping the signal outputs from all other ports except the next immediate port. So this is what regarding the circulator we'll see in the next session. So after we go through circulator isolator, right, the last topic is left over in this particular unit is going to be the attenuator, and we simply go through the attenuator also. So with that, we can finish this particular unit and we can move on to the microwave solid state devices. In the next class, probably we go with the circulator isolator and we move on to the solid state microwave devices. So solid state devices is something like we have used PN junction diode, we have used transistors while we are discussing about the uh, simple analog circuits. Okay, similar kind of devices can be constructed at microwave frequency range. They are called solid state devices at the microwave frequency range. Okay, so we'll discuss all of them, and in the next class we'll try to complete this entire unit of the microwave components. Okay, thank you very much for the today's session.